Hi guys, welcome back. So today's recipe is going to be on crab and callaloo is one of the most famous Sunday lunch dishes in Trinidad. It goes really well with rice or by itself because it's like a soup. I think it could be considered a soup because you can eat it by itself and the crab gives it such a nice flavor. Usually in Trinidad, we make ours different to the rest of the Caribbean. I think each island has their own way of making it. And callaloo actually originated in West Africa. So everyone in the Caribbean has their own way of making callaloo. But in Trinidad, we make our callaloo with dasheen bush leaves or dasheen bush bhaji, taro leaves, whatever you want to call it. We call it bhaji in Trinidad. So dasheen bush bhaji is spinach. You can also use any type of spinach you want for this, but in Trinidad we mainly use dasheen bush leaves. And we simmer the dasheen bush leaves with coconut milk and a lot of seasonings like green seasoning. You know, green seasoning is one of our favorite things to use in Trinidad. So we use lots of green seasoning, we use okra, and we also put some seasoned crab in there for some additional flavor. So if you guys want to see how I do this really famous Trinbagonian Sunday lunch special, then keep watching. So this is what you'll need for the recipe. I have some bhaji or spinach. This is called dasheen bush bhaji leaves. It's a huge leaf, kind of like an elephant ear with a long stem. And what I did was I just washed the leaves, cut it up into fine pieces like this. And I also used the stems. I pulled the skin off of it and I just cut it up into small circles. If you can't find this dasheen bush where you live, then you can use regular spinach or frozen spinach or whatever you can find. It doesn't have to be this, but this is typically what we use in Trinidad to make callaloo. The second major ingredient you're gonna need for the callaloo is some crab. And this is just frozen crab that I got at my fish market, and I just seasoned it up with some salt and some green seasoning. And the green seasoning recipe will be linked in the upper right hand corner in the little eye on top. Just click there and you'll see the recipe for it. The next thing you're gonna need is some ochroes or okra that I just cut up into small little pieces. I have some pumpkin, carrots, some pimento peppers or seasoning peppers. You can use any type of mild but flavorful peppers, or you can just omit this if you can't find the pimento peppers. I have some celery leaf and stalk, some scallion, some ginger, which is optional, some fine thyme, a hot pepper, some golden ray butter. This is something that is very unique to the Caribbean and it gives the food a really unique taste. I also have a vegetable bouillon cube. If you don't have this, you can use a pumpkin flavored soup mix, or you can use any type of soup mix like a vegetable soup mix from Maggi or anything you can find. I'm just using this one from Knorr. It's a Knorr vegetable bouillon. And I have some green seasoning. And I also have some coconut milk. All the exact measurements that I'm going to use, it's going to be in the description box below. So my pot is on medium high and I'm gonna add a little bit of the golden ray butter and a little bit of oil. So once that's melted and the oil is nice and hot, you're gonna add some onions in. Now you wanna add your pimentoes, the carrots, pumpkin, and just give it a good stir. Now you want to add your okra in, or your okra. And just let that fry for about 2 minutes. I'm also going to add this hot pepper now, and I'm just going to use half because it's really hot. So I'm just going to cut it into smaller pieces. Now you want to add the celery. This is Chinese celery. It's very similar to the celery we get back home. I'm gonna add the thyme, and the ginger. I'm just gonna add about a half of this ginger. Now you want to go ahead and add your dasheen bush leaves or spinach leaves. This is gonna look like a lot, but as it starts cooking and wilting, it's gonna be a very little amount. So just add your coconut milk. And some people like to pressure cook this. You can do that as well. Instead of chunking all the ingredients, which was adding the peppers and stuff to the butter and the oil, you can just put up a pressure cooker with some water, coconut milk, and just add all the ingredients and let that pressure cook. So you just want to give that a good stew. Now I'm gonna add about 2 more cups of water to this, and then we'll cover it and let it cook. So this is hot water I'm adding. And you also want to add a little bit of green seasoning. Like I said, the recipe for this will be linked in the upper right hand corner. And add your bouillon cube or your Maggi soup mix or pumpkin mix. And I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. And you want to lower your heat to about medium low. And now I'm gonna cover it and let it cook. So it's been about half an hour and the ingredients have come up to a nice boil and they look like they're really nice and soft. So if you have a dal gutni or a swizzle stick, as we call it back home, you can just go in and swizzle this up just to kind of break down the ingredients a little further. You can also use your hand blender, your immersion blender, and it really depends on the type of bhaji you get, because if you get the hard bhaji, which is the big leaves, I'm going to break down like how this bhaji break down. And the spinach cooks really well too, so if you're using the regular spinach, then you won't have a problem. So I'm just going to continue using the back of my spoon to kind of mash it up a little bit, but I also want to keep some chunks in there. So I'll finish that up and then we'll move on to the next step. So I used the back of my spoon to kind of mash it as well as I could, as well as leaving some of the chunks in there. At this point, what you want to do is taste it, see if it has enough of everything, like salt, pepper, or anything else. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to mine. And I'm also going to add the rest of that hot pepper that I didn't add. In the beginning I only added half, so I'm going to add the next half because I think it needs a little more pepper. So I'm going to add the pepper in. You can cut it up smaller if you want. And I'm going to add a little bit of hot water. So the crab is actually going to go in last. So I'm going to cover this and leave it for the next half an hour again. Let all those flavors incorporate and then we'll add the crab in. And then the callaloo should be finished at that point. So if you wanted to make this really quick, then pressure cooking it would be your best option. So I'm going to cover it again and then I'll check you guys back in about 20 to 30 minutes. And before you cover it, you can add your scallions in so they can soften up. So it's been half an hour now. And I wanted to go in with the immersion blender just a little bit, just to kind of get it a little bit smoother. So I didn't completely blend it. I still left a little bit of chunks in there. So by blending it a little bit, it just thicken up the sauce for me. After you give it a quick blend, now is the fun part. We're gonna add the crab in. So as I said, I already seasoned the crab with some green seasoning and some salt. Now we're gonna add it to the callaloo and let that cook for about 5 minutes. And the crab is gonna add such a wonderful flavor to the callaloo. If you wanted, you could add pigtails, you could add whatever type of meats you want to add. You can even add chicken. I like to eat callaloo with stew chicken on the side. That goes so well. You can also just make this vegetarian. However you want to do it, you can do it. I just think the crab gives it such an amazing taste. And in Trinidad, we usually add crab to callaloo. Like when you hear callaloo, you think crab as well. So I'm going to leave this on high. And I'm going to let it cook for about 5 minutes just so the crab could cook. It's not going to take long to cook at all. And I just wanted to soak in some of that callaloo flavor. And then we'll finish it up with some golden ray butter. And then it'll be ready to serve. So after 5 minutes now, it's time to turn this off and add the golden ray butter. It's probably going to look watery to you, but as callaloo cools, it's going to thicken up a little bit. So I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to add the golden ray butter. And keep in mind that golden ray is kind of salty, so try not to add too much salt to it in the beginning. After you add your golden ray and you taste it, then you can finish it up if it needs any more salt. So this is perfect at this stage. Now all you want to do is let it cool down and serve it with white rice, or you can serve this with fried rice. You can eat this like a soup. However you want to eat it, it's totally up to you. This goes really well over macaroni pie as well. So it's up to your preference however you want to eat it. I'm going to eat mine with some fried rice and some pepper shrimp. So I hope you guys enjoyed this crab and callaloo recipe. Leave me all your comments down below. Tell me if you make it differently. Tell me if you enjoyed this recipe. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel to see all the latest videos as soon as I post them. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!